Home fermenting can seem a little daunting when you're first learning how to do it, but when this costs you $10, and this guy right here costs you $6, there's no reason not to. Let's learn how to make homemade sauerkraut. Hey everyone, welcome to Cozy Cookin'. My name's Zach, and today we're going to be showing you how to make homemade sauerkraut. If you guys want to stay up to date on all the wholesome home cooking practices, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Let's get cozy cooking. Today we're going to need cabbages, salt, some form of container, and just a little bit of patience. There's 3 really important things when it comes to making your sauerkraut. 1, how to chop your cabbage. 2, the percentile brine that we're going to use for the actual ferment. And 3, creating an anaerobic environment for your sauerkraut so it doesn't go bad. I'm going to show you guys how to chop the cabbage now. First thing is to cut this bad boy in half. Now we have a beautiful half cabbage, and right here we have the heart of it. Yeah, we're just going to take this guy out, do a little V cut right here. And just pry him out like that. Now you have 2 options here. You can either go like this and do kind of like a long noodly sort of sauerkraut, or you can cut it into quarters. I prefer quarters. And then we're just going to go straight across like this, nice and thin like. There we go. You'll see as we start adding the salt and massaging, it's going to get much smaller and more pliable. Alright, I'm going to finish off the rest of this cabbage and then I'll get right back to y'all. Alrighty everybody, here's the next step for you. I already have my colander tared out on our scale here. I'm going to be weighing the cabbage in grams. I'm going to take that total weight and multiply it by 0.02, which is going to create our 2% brine, which is the perfect environment to make sauerkraut. I got the mass over here by the lilac, and we're going to be moving on to the next step. Alrighty, here is our next part. I have our weighed out salt here, right around 44 grams if I remember correctly for our large amount of sauerkraut we have here. I've broken it up into 2 smaller bowls, and this is the fun part. We get to start massaging. And now we're gonna get real sensual with it. And while I work this cabbage, here's some quick tips. If you'd like to add aromatics such as red pepper flakes, caraway seeds, or pickling spices, now is the time to do that. You'll add half a tablespoon of aromatics per head of cabbage. And if your cabbage doesn't fill your jar, go ahead and top it off with a 2% brine. To do that, you'll need to weigh your water, multiply that number by 0.02. That will be the amount of salt you need to add. Top off your jar for happy fermenting. So let's talk about the vessel that you're actually going to do the ferment in. I used to do it in this guy here, pretty loose lid. Large because I like to make a lot of sauerkraut at one time. I decided to upgrade to this guy right here. This is a gallon jar with a double airlock lid. What the airlock does is as it starts to ferment, the bubbly boys, the carbonation, is going to start pushing the air out, and so you'll have a lack of air. And then with this guy on top, the double airlock, it's going to be almost impossible for air to get back inside. So it's basically turning fermentation onto easy mode for you. I'm really excited about these just because it makes life so much easier for myself. And if you guys are curious about getting something like this, there is a link below in the description. So let's get our sauerkraut into the jar. There's really not a hard and fast science to this. I'm just gonna start dumping her in there with obviously clean hands. And a clean jar. You definitely want a clean jar. You don't want any like weird stuff hanging on the side of your jar because it's just going to ruin your ferment, and that's no good. Once we get everything in there, we are going to dump the liquid that we have in there too. Excellent. These bad boys right here. Ooh, yeah, it's a party. Cool. And I don't have one of those fancy guys that packs it down. So I'm just going to use this muddler that I have in my bartending kit. Just going to kind of push her down. This is pretty much it. I didn't go quite as far up as I would, just because I know it's gonna start expressing a lot of that delicious sauerkraut juice that I enjoy so much. So I bet you by tomorrow I'll probably be up to here with brine, and we have a solid 6 pounds probably of just straight sauerkraut. And this is half as much as the jar of sauerkraut that I showed you earlier today. Now it's kind of up to you. How do you like your sauerkraut? Do you like it a little bit crunchier? I would say give it a 2-week ferment, check it every couple days, but it should be nice, sour, and a little bit crunchy. I'm a big fan of that myself. This round though, we're gonna give it at least 4 weeks. And I would say you could ferment up to 6 weeks. It's really up to you at this point. Well, if y'all liked what you saw here today, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button. And if you have suggestions for future videos, put a comment down below. Y'all have a great day. Keep it cozy.